cheap perfumes or just affordable fragrances in general are important because a lot of fragrances are not affordable at all. Unfortunately, some of my most favorite fragrances are more than $300 a bottle. So alternatives are nice. Cheap alternatives are very nice. And cheap does not necessarily mean that the fragrance isn't any good, because there are plenty of fragrances that smell great and they're affordable. And that's what this video is about. I'm going to start with, actually, the first perfume, full bottle of perfume specifically, that I've ever bought was this. This is Emerald by Coty. Very, very simple looking sort of bottle. This is also a very old fragrance. This came out in 1921, which is the same year that Chanel No. 5 came out. Back then, this particular brand, Coty, which is a French brand, was pretty much on the level with Chanel. Dior didn't exist yet, but, you know, the high-class brands of the time. It has since faded into obscurity, but the fragrances are still pretty good. They've been reformulated, so they're not as good as the originals, of course, but still pretty good. So Emerald specifically is actually the inspiration behind Shalimar by Guerlain, which came out in 1927. But this is pretty much an amber, woody scent with a little bit of citrus notes, and I really like it. It's a cologne, so it's on the lighter side. Not super long lasting. I would say 2 hours. Not super long lasting. But the thing I like about this is that it's warm yet light and refreshing at the same time. I personally, this is my go-to after shower fragrance. Usually in the evening, when I just want to chill out. It's just nice to, freshen up, and it's just pleasant. When I bought this, it was $14. It probably went up in price since then. $20, $18, I don't know, but still very, very cheap, very nice. Vintage style fragrance, and it's pretty much considered a drugstore fragrance these days. But, it does have that past luxury of its golden age in the 1920s, but it's still nice. I enjoy it, and it's a nice bottle. 2.5 fluid ounces, and like I said, I got this for $14, so it's a pretty good deal. Then, also from Coty, I have to mention Lemo. This, I believe, came out in 1927. This is almost identical, in my opinion, to Chanel No. 5. This, Coty actually produced this as a reaction to the release of Chanel No. 5, because they saw immediately Chanel No. 5 was such a huge hit that they were like, alright, we gotta do something, we gotta pick up the pace here. So they made this, which is very much like Chanel No. 5, a floral aldehyde fragrance. The main difference is that it does not have the kind of heavy animalistic civet notes that No. 5 has. This is instead more focused on the florals and the aldehydes themselves. This is also a very, not super long lasting fragrance. Again, probably 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, but very, very pleasant. The thing I like about this is that I don't get sick of it. I can't get overwhelmed by it. I could just drown myself in this and I'll be fine. People don't find it to be overwhelming even when you put on a lot. It's just very pleasant. It also has a little bit of powderiness, which I quite like. Very kind of light and refreshing, feminine and elegant. This I also got for maybe $18, $20. Still very cheap. Then, moving on from Coty, another vintage option, Taboo by Dana. This was a huge hit when it came out in 1932 and continued into the 1940s and 50s and probably beyond that. This is also an eau de cologne similar to Emerald, and despite it being a clone, it does not make this weak at all. So this, you could probably get an idea from this deep orange color. Very spicy sort of fragrance. I believe it has cloves, cinnamon. It's extremely spicy. Incense. It also has some incense notes. very smoky, very spicy, very heavy fragrance, and definitely not for everyone because it is so strong. It's like this grenade ready to go off, but it's definitely one of those kind of sultry, smoky, cabaret sort of fragrances, which aren't necessarily popular these days, but if you want to stand out from the crowd, you want something really kind of heavy and interesting, this is it, because this is a very mysterious sort of fragrance, very exotic, and it's surprisingly long-lasting for a cologne. I want to say 6 hours, 7 hours, sometimes more. You know, if you put on lotion first, or you get out of the shower and you put this on, it'll probably last longer than that. Very long-lasting. I forget exactly how much I paid for this, but I want to say $20. So affordable, especially for the power that you're getting here. So there you go. Then, on a different note, Red Door by Elizabeth Arden. Everyone knows Red Door, famous, you know, you can see it immediately from the bottle, you know what it is. Pretty standard floral fragrance. Actually, there's quite a lot of floral notes in this particular rose, you know, lily of the valley. A honey note, which is interesting. I would say, so the thing I like about this is that it has a powderiness. It has that, you know, in my opinion, any powdery fragrances are just very clean, very fresh, and that sort of thing. And the florals are very strong in this. I believe a bottle of this is $30-ish. That's what I've seen. You know, I'm sure prices will go up eventually, but for this is a surprisingly long-lasting floral fragrance, because a lot of floral fragrances don't last that long. They might last a couple hours, but this is intense. This is, you know, a flower, just intense flower experience. And at the same time, it's elegant, it's feminine, it's not overpowering, it's not too sweet or too, you know, not too this or that. Very nicely balanced. I mean, it's been popular for several decades for a reason. So there you go. And then the last one that I have is a unisex fragrance, Aqua di Gel. More masculine than unisex, really, but in my opinion, this is one of the best fresh fragrances out there, because it has some really nice citrus notes in the opening, then it kind of melts down into these herbal notes like rosemary, and then it has some very light, smooth wood notes. It's just very pleasant. It reminds you of the Italian Riviera, you know, fresh ocean vibes. And I believe a full bottle of this is around $50. Very nice sized bottle. So a bit more expensive than these ones, but still under $100, you know. And longevity on this is pretty moderate, not super strong, maybe 4 hours. But in general, just a very nice unisex fragrance. And it'll keep you smelling fresh, even on a very hot day. So those are pretty much my main choices for, you know, just affordable perfumes, at least at the moment. So if you have any opinions about these fragrances, you can always leave those in the comment section below. If you liked the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.